Gold and Bitcoin. Oops. Is it what I've got there? Yes. Okay, thank you. Now this is a gold show, and I assure you there is no bigger gold bull in the world than me. I asked Brian if it was okay if I discussed Bitcoin, and he said go for it if I thought it would be helpful. I do. I want to be helpful. I know there are some here who hate Bitcoin. I understand the special kind of frustration that some gold bulls must feel being proven completely correct in their monetary thesis and then seeing Bitcoin come onto the scene. But here's the thing. If you believe in the fundamental principle of sound money and you are intellectually curious and honest, I believe you will come to see Bitcoin as also an emerging form of sound money. Money does not have to be tangible. All money is really just a ledger. Long before gold or seashells or anything else, cavemen kept ledgers on walls. I killed a bison, you killed a bison, you killed 2 bison, I owe you 1, whatever. Bitcoin is an immutable digital ledger that performs all the roles of money. At the next reward halving in 2024, its stock-to-flow ratio will make it the soundest money on the planet using that measure. History shows that in the long run, the soundest form of money always wins in the store of value game. A good example of this is the way that gold demonetized silver, and the countries that remained on the silver standard, India and China, suffered mightily in monetary terms. Now, many of you know the Warren Buffett story about how he gains an advantage as an investor by being willing to wait for fat pitches. The fact that an investor does not have to swing can provide an edge. Some of you may be taking that approach to Bitcoin, but here's the thing. This is a paradigm shift at the base layer of money. The entire system might change, and so you need to take the time to understand Bitcoin. You can't just blow it off. It represents the biggest asymmetric bet in history. Bitcoin is a CDS on the failure of sovereign currencies, as Greg Foss points out. To me, Bitcoin represents 2 things. 1, a store of value like gold, but in a digital form, and 2, a technological innovation that will someday rival the printing press. In my opinion, it is one of the most important inventions ever. Let's discuss Bitcoin as a store of value. It has built-in deflation. Only 21 million coins will ever be issued. The supply of above-ground gold goes at 1.7% per year. So in 40 years, the amount of gold on the planet will double. Unlike a commodity, the supply of Bitcoin does not increase with higher Bitcoin prices. Supply cannot adjust to meet increased demand or higher prices. This is why it is a sound money monster. From a technological innovation standpoint, perhaps its biggest advantage is its ease of transfer and settlement. For a modest fee in a 10-minute cycle, I can move $1 billion, and it is fully verifiable to the entire world. Nothing like this has ever been present before this technology. Bitcoin takes money out of the hands of government, and its cryptology makes individuals self-sovereign. And while its stock-to-flow will soon be sounder than gold, the most important innovation that Bitcoin represents is that it is decentralized and triple-entry accounting verifiable. The math does not lie. Bitcoin provides the audit function to everyone. Compare this to gold, where we don't even know if we have the gold in Fort Knox since it hasn't been audited since the 50s. This is where the gold standard has temporarily failed, and the reason why us gold bugs feel like Sisyphus. Yes, gold is super sound money with a 5,000-year-old track record, but guess what? Governments have found a workaround. Paper gold and fractional reserve gold have managed to suppress the gold price to a fraction of what it should be. I have no doubt about this. Until this game of musical chairs stops, gold has, in a sense, failed. I lost my place here. Now, ultimately, I expect this failure to be overcome. It has failed because gold is controlled by banks and central banks, and these are controlled by the government. When the state fails, as it will, gold will find its true market value, which will be multiples of today's price. Gold is disadvantaged versus Bitcoin because it is hard to move, certify, verify, and provide final payment closure on large transactions. But until gold breaks, Bitcoin is the one monetary medium that is effectively doing its job of reflecting the relentless march towards hyperinflation that we're seeing. Bitcoin is a monetary fire alarm that works. This is important. Famous Austrian economist, Hayek, had something that he didn't know what Bitcoin was when he said this, but basically what he said is we're going to have a hard time getting state-controlled money out of the hands of the state, but if we can introduce something else that people choose as opposed to state-controlled money, we might win. Bitcoin is something I believe they cannot stop. Everyone read that? Good? Okay. I come from a venture capital background, and my #1 selection criteria for making investments in emerging companies was simple. Are the dogs eating the food? Or said another way, are user adoption and demand growing? Well, take the case of Bitcoin. Adoption and demand are growing rapidly and consistently. An entire generation of millennials have been educated in Austrian economics and have joined the sound money camp because of Saifedean's book. Bitcoin enjoys two things which are driving up its price. First, it is an emerging form of sound money or digital gold. Therefore, monetary debasement leads to a higher Bitcoin price. Second, there's an adoption curve underway, and we're at about the 10% tipping point, which in the past has marked the rapid growth phase of other new technologies. Bitcoin reminds me an awful lot of the internet in 1995. As you can see, these other technologies, cars, broadband, mobile phones, 10 to 14 years for full acceptance. Despite these positives, Bitcoin is not gold. Unlike gold, Bitcoin requires continued energy to prove its value. In the case of gold, all the energy is spent up front, a big advantage for gold. They're both bearer assets, but gold has a privacy advantage. The blockchain leaves a trace, gold does not. Many point to the risks of government intervention into Bitcoin, and that makes sense. It truly is an existential threat to fiat. However, Rick Reeder of BlackRock says he owns it. JP Morgan, Fidelity, and Goldman are all developing Bitcoin groups. Gary Gensler, chairman of the SEC, is a fan. He just wants to regulate it. My view is the horse is out of the barn. It is too late for the government to kill it. They will, however, provide regulations, but that may actually help grow Bitcoin adoption as regulation gives safe cover to institutions to buy it. Also, they just approved an ETF. Therefore, I believe that a portfolio should include both gold and Bitcoin, and both will win in the monetary crisis that I see coming. There are roughly 450 trillion of fiat-based financial assets in the world: cash, stocks, bonds, etc. Bitcoin's market cap right now is 1.2 trillion, and the tradable gold and tradable gold stocks are about 5 trillion. Total gold is more, but that includes antiquities and central bank gold. So when the 450 of fiat money, maybe 100 plus of that in bonds, realizes that they are in the burning house, they're going to come running after $6 trillion of sound money alternatives. Millennials will chase Bitcoin and boomers will chase gold. And boomers control most of the fiat wealth. They're both going to work. In the 1970s, inflation, gold peaked at 7% of global financial assets. Today, that would equate to 32 trillion of market cap for gold and Bitcoin combined. That's 5x from where they are today. Hard to tell what the split will be. Cumulative, also, I believe that this inflation is going to be bigger than the 1970s, so the upside is beyond that. The gold versus Bitcoin debate is silly. We're all on the same team, team anti-fiat. Gold holders should be rooting for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin holders should be rooting for gold. We all want to end state-controlled money. The state and state-controlled money are very powerful. What they've done to this country is a crime. They have a huge vested interest in maintaining their privilege, and in the end, we know they'll break the rules to do so. We've seen it time and again. Roosevelt confiscated the gold and devalued it. The US devalued and defaulted in '71. In 2008, time for next slide. Oh, no, I'm sorry, that was wrong. I didn't want to stay there. In 2008, they banned the short selling of financial stocks to protect the market insiders. I know, I was forced to cover at unattractive prices. More recently, when the Reddit people figured out a way to organize and play the game that Wall Street insiders have been playing for years by squeezing the short sellers in GameStop, they changed the rules again. Bitcoin is a system where they cannot change the rules. I have a sound money friend who until 5 years ago was 100% invested in gold. Now he's 100% invested in Bitcoin. His analogy for making the change was clear. He said, look, gold is historically the soundest form of money, but governments have figured out a workaround through the paper markets. With Bitcoin, the cryptography is so bulletproof that there is no workaround. I'm going to join the villagers over there who are storming the castle with technological torches and pitchforks. It is the only way we will win. Like Paul Tudor Jones, I believe Bitcoin may be the fastest horse in the monetary debasement race, but it is not without serious problems and risks. Key security and key management are big issues. The volatility is insane, although it is decreasing. Can government attack it? Sure, but to what end? And the more you learn about it, the more you realize it is pretty attack-proof. With 12 seed words that can replicate my private key, I can control billions of dollars. Like gold, the future price of Bitcoin is highly asymmetric. I tell my clients that the only wrong allocation in Bitcoin is zero. I personally believe that each coin will be worth $1 million or more within 10 years. Of course, gasoline may also be $100 a gallon at that time. Everyone in this room should be proud of the monetary stand you have taken. We are the remnant. We are the righteous ones. We bought gold in 2011 at 1900 and it went to 1050 and we didn't know why, but we hung on. We did the right thing and we're going to win. We have suffered pain, but working to permanently establish honest weights in this world is worth it. Many here have been fighting this fight for years and years, and we feel tired, beat down, and worried that we're on the wrong path. I don't believe that. I think we're on the right path. We are the righteous ones, and they are thieves and liars. We will win, our kids will win, and our grandchildren will win. Someday my grandchildren will marvel that the entire world financial system collapsed because a small centralized group of arrogant, greedy people convinced the world to give them control of the money supply and interest rates. What were they thinking, they will ask. The world will return to sound money because unsound money simply does not work. It has nearly ruined our society, and that is becoming evident. If we want our kids to live better lives, we will have to return to sound money. The collapse of the existing monetary system will make this obvious. Furthermore, as this chart shows, events are accelerating. Look at the rate of growth here. I think that fiat's lifespan is now measured in low single-digit years. Also, given the way this is likely to happen, you are either going to be in this trade or not. No do-overs. So the fiat masters play their games, and every year they steal from us. They are rent seekers, and they print money and steal our savings. They make it impossible for young people to buy houses because they have to compete with BlackRock. They make it impossible to retire with financial security. They rob the elderly of their retirement income and savings. Their inflation hurts us and benefits them. They fund their wars, they seek to control our lives, but more and more people are saying no. Buying gold, buying silver, and buying Bitcoin are a protest. No, you can no longer steal from us and our kids. We will not be burdened with your debts. On this I am clear. I will not back down. I say sound money is the most important contested moral issue of our time. Everyone in this room is a soldier on the front line, and everyone in this room is important. Why? Because we will spread the word. We're like the early Christians. It's not about profit and loss. It's about what is right and what is wrong. The Fed and the US government in tandem have proven that they are completely unsuited to control the monetary system. Fiat money leads to poverty, economic equality, social upheaval, war, and death. We, the people, are not going to take it anymore. We are voting with our wallets and spreading the word. Buy gold, buy silver, buy Bitcoin. Fix the money, fix the word. We should be incredibly positive and optimistic these days, and I'll tell you why. We have two tools with which to defeat the state, gold and Bitcoin. As we say in CrossFit, you got this, we're good. Allow me to repeat and emphasize the point of this speech. Sound money is the most important moral issue of our time. And to paraphrase Jack Mallers, the CEO of Strike, this sound money hill is a hill that I am willing to die on. Like Jack, I am willing to die on the hill of sound money. Since you are here, I know that I can expect to see you there, and we will be brothers and sisters in arms. Be happy to take any questions. Questions? Yeah, back here, sir. I'm very strongly a Bitcoin maximalist, and I think part of what's hurt the entire crypto area is there have been frauds and bad things in crypto. Tether and others being examples, and a lot of coins that are no damn good. Bitcoin's a special thing. The code in Bitcoin is immutable and has been proven now over 12 plus years. I don't own any other cryptocurrencies other than Bitcoin, and I wouldn't recommend owning other currencies other than Bitcoin for store of value. Having said that, there will be important cryptocurrency developments that will change the world. But we're talking, I'm a store of value sound money person, and it's very clear to me that the three solutions to that problem are gold, silver, and Bitcoin. Yes? On Bitcoin or? Yeah, so there's a book I highly recommend everybody purchase and read. It's really, you'll enjoy it because he was a gold guy and he was an Austrian economist. Saifedean Ammous, A-M-M-O-U-S, wrote a book called The Bitcoin Standard. It's absolute must reading. Absolutely, it's the best economic book I've read in the last 10 years. You gotta read this book. And the first half of it isn't even about Bitcoin, it's about sound money. The second half is about Bitcoin. The millennials have read this book and they picked this thing up. And I gotta tell you, some of them are obnoxious, but the fact of the matter is most of them get it. They really get it. It gives me great hope that we're gonna solve this problem. We are gonna take money out of the hands of the state and we're gonna live in a better society. Things are very, very bright. And I know as gold people, we've suffered a lot. It's very easy to get down and say, well, hang on a sec, they're printing money like crazy. Why isn't this working? What's wrong with this picture? I'll tell you why it's not working, because they've rigged the system. So the system's got to be blown up, but we're going to blow it up. We've got tools to do it with. Okay, sorry. One more? No?
One short one.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved your example of your friend that went from 100% gold to 100% Bitcoin because the governments can't touch it.
Yeah.
For example, what is China do to Bitcoin overnight?
They banned it, but you know what? A lot of Chinese are using it, and I think China made an enormous strategic disadvantage of doing that. And I don't think the U.S. is going to do that. It's untouchable. The code is untouchable. I mean, I think if the U.S. were to ban Bitcoin, you'd see a lot of people who are Bitcoiners leave the U.S.